All right. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. I didn't want to get too long-winded off of that. But we here. We here. Everybody get in here. All right. Hold on. Oh, oh. All right. Okay. All right. I did this cast on um I did this cast on TikTok, but I wanted to do this again because it means something in the span of, who's American and who's not. You see, that's why I wanted to do this. Okay. I wanted to do this because it was very important to do this. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Let me do this real quick. Real quick. And Lord, I'm not trust, and Lord, I'm not share this message. I'm live on Supreme American TV. So all my TikTokers, come on over and listen to me live on Supreme American TV. I just had to do me a little drop live right now on Supreme American TV, the Euro American thing out. All right, so I had to do my little drop for TikTok, and so I do my little drop for TikTok. But yeah, I discussed this on TikTok about why aren't white Americans called Euro Americans? How come they're not called European Americans? Anybody know why white Americans are not called European Americans? Because I touched on this, but I want to go deeper into this because it's very important to know that this all goes along with why we are called African Americans. Why they feel comfortable calling us African Americans. And like I said, I noticed that in every news cycle, whenever they describing us, it's never just, a regular person. It's always African American this, African American this. They don't even say Black American no more. They just say African American. And my thing is, why do they have to still identify us by race? Why is it important to identify us by race? Why is that important? If we all supposed to be Americans here, because that's what everybody's told. We're told that we are Americans when we come here, especially the immigrants. They already being told that they're Americans when they come here. So my thing is, if immigrants come here and are told they are Americans, you know, if they're coming here and being told they're Americans, and here it is, we've been here for longer than these immigrants, and we're still being called African Americans, something's up with that. But before I get even deeper into this, in Lord I'm and I trust, and in Lord I'm and I share this message. I am the intellectual Lord Benjamin Manhattan. This is Supreme American TV on a Wednesday. And you see, they sitting up here calling us African Americans. They sitting here disrespecting us by calling us African Americans. They sitting here calling us Black Americans and things like that. But like I said, everybody else is allowed to come over here and just be Americans. Everybody else is allowed to come over here, even the Caucasians, who are the biggest immigrants here. They're the major immigrant class here. They're allowed to be coming. They're allowed to come here and be called white Americans. I said that they have severed their tie with their European ancestry. But every time they sit up here and talk about Americans, they showing these white people or these European Americans, these Caucasian Americans as Americans. It's to make you think, and the outsiders looking in, that these are people who are indigenous to America. They don't even call them European Americans, nor do they talk about their European heritage. You would think that these people are really American indigenous people. You would think that these people are real Americans, and they are not. They are not, but they quick to tell us that we're not real Americans. They're quick to tell us we're African Americans. If it's all about everybody just being American because for the sake of being in America and we all American, why is it that we're being called African Americans? If we dealing with people's homelands and origins, and Black Americans are not even African American, they're not even from Africa. That is a generic title that was made up by Jesse Jackson, who had no authority to start naming our people anything. We didn't vote to be called African American. They just used Jesse Jackson as a Trojan horse. And whenever they start using these people as Trojan horses to keep us away from who we really are as the indigenous Americans, because that's what this government does not want us to identify as or wake up and find out who we really are, the true history of who the real Americans are. They've been trying to erase the true history of America. And another reason why they try to erase slavery is because slavery, the more and more you dig into slavery, the more and more you go into the history of slavery, the real history past what U.S. history tells us about slavery. The more and more you dig into slavery, you start to see that there was an indigenous so-called Black American class of people here that were not African, you'll see that there was an indigenous group of people here, so-called the Folsom people, the Carolina Indians, the Lapine, the original Lapine, and all these other indigenous tribes that were here in America, all throughout America, who are in fact the original Americans of America, the copper-colored races who were found here by the Europeans. Yet, because they want to take America on as their own, because they want to blacken out the real American indigenous people, and they want to take our place and make us into African Americans, basically anything but here, because they want to do that to hide our identity. You got a lot of sellout. You got a lot of sellout boule Sambos who working with them to hide our true American identity, our true first American indigenous identity. As first Americans really is the only Americans of America. You see, that's what's been hidden from our people. So these Caucasians, you know, they do a quick sleight of hand. They'll sit up here and here it is. They're the last people to come to America. They are the last people in America. The Caucasians, Europeans are the last people to come to America. This was considered the new world to them. So they were the last people to come to America. And when they came into America, they found our people here. They found indigenous copper-colored races, so-called Black people here in America. They found our people here. And then they went about, you know, reclassifying our people as soon as they got a foothold here in America. The colonialists, the British, the Scott Irish, the Germans, and those are the people that came over here, the Europeans that came here and started taking hold of America and reclassifying the indigenous people here because they wanted to replace them. This was the ultimate replacement theory. And it wasn't even a theory. This was happening in real time, where there was an indigenous Black population here that was not African. You see, this is what they keep trying to step over. They want to step over it by calling us Negroes. They want to step over it by calling us Africans and saying that we come from Africa. We wasn't here in America before them, which is a big lie. The biggest lie that was ever told when you got so-called Black people sitting up here believing this nonsense. And when we stand up here and we say, look, we got proof that we the real indigenous Americans and that we're the only real Americans here, you get these simple-minded Negroes who want to come up in here and talk about, nah, there was an African slave trade, there was an ethnogenesis, you know, that we African, we got to be African and whatnot. Why we got to be African? Because the white man said we African? Because that's really all you're going off of. You're not going off of no historical records. You can't even say, like I said, Tariq Nasheed, who was the premier influencer of the FBA movement, he himself said that he didn't find any African slave trade or African slave ships in his family background. He traced his roots back. But then he keeps sitting up here talking about all Black Americans are part of an ethnogenesis of African and American Indian mix, which is a lie. That is a lie. He is misinforming the people. Tariq Nasheed is misinforming people that we are part of some ethnogenesis that's part African and part American, which again, he's calling us African Americans. And again, they're going to keep pushing this African American thing. I told y'all, FBA is nothing but an African American remix. That's all FBA is. It's an African American remix. And all them Sambo Boule coons that come out here telling our people that they Black and that we Black Americans and that we African Americans, and they pushing that whole African American or now FBA trope. These are sellouts. These are sellouts because these European Americans, and that's how you should start referring to them. Start referring to white people as European Americans. Don't call them white people no more. Call them what they are. If they can call us African Americans, call them European Americans. Don't sit up here and allow them to call us anything because they want to act like they from here and pretend like we came from someplace else. That's really what it's all about. It was just it was the one last step in displacing our people. That whole African American thing was just one more step toward displacing our people. And Sambos like Jesse Jackson, no big loss that he's going, work to push that on our people. They work to push that narrative on our people. And so I asked, what are our people doing? What are our people doing in response to the lie that's been told on our people? What are we doing? We got a lot of Boule Sambos that's coming up here arguing when we say we indigenous to America, and we point out the Folsom people, we point out the Carolina Indians, we point out all the indigenous American tribes that was here, the bronze copper colored people that were found here by the Europeans. We point this out with these Sambo said, oh, that ain't real. Y'all African, y'all from Africa. Y'all do this because you speak out of ignorance. And like I said, you got a lot of sellouts. You got a lot of Uncle Toms. Even in this young generation, you got a lot of Uncle Toms and sellouts and Sambos who believe these Caucasians because they are very much indoctrinated by them. They're very much indoctrinated by the Caucasian, by the European Americans. So you believe everything they say. You believe them telling us that we came from Africa on slave ships. You believe that. Why? Because black people have low self-esteem. Black people have been taught to have low self-esteem. Black people have been taught not to trust anything from another so-called black person, even if it makes sense. You want to believe what Caucasian people say. If they say in their made-up history that we are from Africa, y'all believe that. You don't question that. But then when I come up and I say, no, we from America, we first Americans of America, y'all will question that. You even got, unfortunately, you even got a lot of these YouTube people that's up here that's starting to be on some Sambo shit. A lot of these YouTubers who talking the indigenous stuff. Mm-hmm. When I say you got a lot of these YouTubers, out here who are trying to push this, new narrative about us being Native Americans. Watch out for a lot of these black YouTubers that's calling us Native Americans. Be careful of that, because I had to shut this guy Mike TV out. I was listening to his stuff, and Mike TV has some good stuff until he did something recently. I don't know how recent it was. He was going back and forth with this guy, Legendary Top Cat. And Mike TV, like I said, I was giving props and shot because he was dropping a lot of information and whatnot. And basically, Mike TV was saying that black Americans are indigenous to America. He was saying that. That's all throughout his taglines on his videos, that black Americans are indigenous to America. Right? He never talked about no African anything, and that's what made him endearing to a lot of people that was listening to his information, Mike TV. Then he turns around and starts talking this crazy shit about, if you're not recognized by the government, if you're not recognized by the government as indigenous, native, if you're not on a part of some kind of tribe, then you're not indigenous to America. What? This is what this guy said. If you're not part of some federally recognized tribe, you're not indigenous to America. He said some crazy shit. He told me, all these black people sitting up here talking about they're indigenous to America. I'm like, what? Excuse me? All these black people? What are you talking about? You was the one up here telling black people that they are indigenous to America. Now, all of a sudden, we got to go through some being classified by the Europeans, the very people that stole our identity. We got to go to them or join some tribe that's under their control, that is controlled by some Mongoloids, because he's part of the Muskogee Creek Nation, right? Mike TV's part of the Muskogee Creek Nation, but then when you look at the leader of the Muskogee Creek Nation, he's a Mongoloid. He's a straight up Mongoloid, like Siberian. The people that he claimed that he say they're not the real indigenous people. He calls them Siberians, but then make that make sense to me. How is it that you part of the Muskogee Creek Nation, and you a card carrying member of that, and you got some Fugazi ass Siberian who's over it, and you say these people are not indigenous to America? So make that make sense to me. So anybody, a white person, a Siberian, anybody can come up here and claim or say that they indigenous to America, as long as they got an indigenous card from the government. Then they Indians, right? They indigenous to America. But if we don't go and get no genealogy, if we don't sit up here and get some genealogy nonsense to prove that we indigenous, then we black people. What? You see? Excuse me? Excuse me. How's that? You got to go to the white man to ask him about you being indigenous to America. You got to go through some tribe, see, because he has this genealogy thing where he wants you to do your genealogy through him. So, in other words, for him to make money And for him to make money, and you got to go through him to be considered part of some indigenous thing or some indigenous tribe. In other words, you got to go through him, or you got to get permission from the white man to tell you that you're indigenous to America. Really, it's not enough that our ancestors' bloodline goes back in America, both sides. And he was the one up there telling us that, yeah, you know, you Black American, your bloodline go back to this. There's no African. He was the one going talking against the African stuff. Now all of a sudden, these Black people sitting up here, they talking about they indigenous. I'm like, what? That sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. No. It's Mike TV. It's Mike TV. On his recent thing, when he was going back with the guy legendary Top Cat, and I was like, I couldn't believe he was saying this crazy stuff. And the guy when Kareemio, because I already said what I said about the guy Kareemio, he another one who sit up here and talk about, yeah, y'all with this Black stuff, Black this and Black this and Black that, but everything in your content is about Black people and how they're the real American Indians. Everything in your content, I don't see nothing about your conquistador bloodline, your Euro-Spanish bloodline, which he obviously has in him. I don't see no talk about that. All I see is him talking about black Americans and our link as indigenous Americans. But then when we point that out, oh, y'all with this Black stuff, Black this and Black this, but you talking about so-called Black people. That's your whole content. Same thing with Mike TV. You sitting up here telling us that we not indigenous to America if we don't get permission from the white man. That's what he basically saying. If we don't get no federal recognition from the crackers, the same ones who made a point of reclassifying you as Negroes, we got to ask them for permission. What kind of Sambo shit is that? What kind of Sambo Uncle Tom shit is that? I'm gonna be honest, that was some real Sambo shit. Straight up. You see? Because really what it is with these guys is if they not getting no goddamn money, if they not getting any money off of it, they not trying to promote it. They not trying, because I went on his live and I promoted the First American Street Music Festival. And I even asked him to come out. I said, you could have come up and set up your little table and, ask people they want to do their genealogy. But he said he couldn't be a part of it. But he let me come up there and promote on his show, which I thank him for doing that. And, props and shout out to him. But, man, once he started this shit about, you ain't indigenous unless you not part of a card carrier tribe. So basically, we got to be up under some Mongoloid Siberians like you. Because I want y'all to look up who is the head of the Muskogee Creek Indians that he say he a part of. Look see who the head of it. Can anybody look in there and get that person's name? Look in there, because they showed it. Kareemio, he showed that, where he showed the head of the Muskogee Creek Nation that Mike TV's a part of. This ain't no so-called black man. This ain't no so-called black indigenous man or whatnot. This is a Siberian. So make that make sense to me. So the Siberians can claim indigenous status if they get a goddamn card. And he made the point to go out his way to show how these people are scam, and they just get these, they $5 Siberian Indians, but then you following these people. Make that make sense to me. Can somebody get to see who's the head of the Muskogee Creek Nation? But my point being is that the European Americans, they work hand in hand with these so-called Native Americans. And they are all native to America, meaning that they came from someplace else and anchored into America. And they have been stealing our identity since they got here. They've been replacing us, stealing our land, stealing our identity ever since they got here. You see, and they're racist against our people, enslaving our people, the real American Indians. The focus was against the American Indians. So while y'all sitting up here, you Israelites sitting up here arguing with the Caucasian Jews about who the real Jews are, or you sitting up here arguing with whoever the real Muslim, or whoever is the real this, that, and the third, who the real Egyptians are. Y'all going back and forth with these people about that, things that are irrelevant, and you're not standing up for what's really relevant, which is who are the real Americans. That's more important than who the ancient Egyptians were, even though, yeah, we were the ancient Egyptians. But what's more pertinent, what's more prevalent is who the real Americans are, because we in America right now. So that's more pertinent, that's more prevalent, who the real Americans are. That should be the real debate right there. You see, a lot of people don't want to have that debate. A lot of people don't want to have that debate on who the real Americans are. They want to keep going back about who ancient Egypt and the real Israelites and all this, man. Y'all not in Israel, you're not in Egypt, you in America. And you sit up here and you hand America over too easily to these Caucasians. Y'all sit up here and y'all speak against America, talking about America, KKK, and this is how things is in America with the white man and whatnot. No, you allow it to be that way. Our people allow this. And part of the reason why they allow this is because y'all don't know that y'all the real Americans. Number one, y'all actually think y'all guests in this country because you've been brainwashed into believing that you are African Americans. That's why they keep on with this African American. They'll call you a goddamn African American and don't even think to yourself, is that what you want to be identified as? They'll sit up here and identify these LGBT people and all these people with these weird ass classifications, him, her, me, these plurals. They'll sit up here with all of that, and they won't say to themselves, well, do these people want to be classified as African American? Because I sure don't. I hate that term African American, because if they can call us African American, we can call them European Americans. They don't want to be called European Americans because they don't want you to think that they come from someplace else other than America. That's really why they do that. That's why they up here having this American heritage thing and American Anglo-American. Y'all not Americans. Hello, white people are not Americans. They have no right to tell anybody to go back to where they came from. They act like they the landlords of America, and they are not. They act like they're the landlords of America, and they are not. Not by indigenous status or anything. They are immigrants. All white people in America are European immigrants, and y'all need to remember that and stop trying to align them with America. They got it to the point now when you think about America, you think about white people. You think this is a white people's country, USA. You think that that's a white, and the term white American. They don't say European American because they try to differentiate between the Europeans over there and them over here. But when it comes to us, we African American. We ain't never been in Africa at all, but they classifying us as African American. And y'all let this shit go on, man. Y'all let this go on. You let some headless horseman like Jesse Jackass come up here and start calling us African American, knowing he a Boule sellout, knowing he's a Boule Sambo sellout, like a lot of these Boule Sambo sellouts who push this black shit to our people. And y'all sit up here and y'all align yourself with this. Y'all sit up here and you agree with this. You see, no, you just call them European Americans, man. They're European Americans. That's it. Don't even call them white Americans. Call them European Americans. You see, let's keep it. Let's always remember. Let them remember. Let them know. And let them remember that you know where they come from. So when they start copping this big brother attitude, like you need to go back to Africa, no, you need to go back to Europe where you belong. They need to go back to Europe where they belong. They start trying to cop this big brother attitude like they are indigenous here, like they belong here, and they don't belong here. Not by nationality anyway. We got just as much right, hell more, because we are actually indigenous to America. They tricked us out of our spot. I told you the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of American tells you everything. They were replacing our people as Americans. They were here to replace our people, the real indigenous Americans, as us, and start calling us black people, meaning redacted people. So they want to cut their ties with Europe. These Caucasians want to cut their ties with Europe. They don't want you to ever think that they're not European. Because ask a white person, average white person today in America, where they come from, they're going to start to, oh, I got some native in me. They're going to start this native shit. And then when you remind them, okay, but the natives are Siberians, they're not indigenous to America. So what about the European side of you? What about the so-called white side of you? Where did that come from? Oh, okay, well, I got some German in me, Irish. Okay, then y'all not American then. If you come from German ancestry, you're not American. Donald Trump is German. We got a German president. We don't got no American president. Donald Trump is German. He is a German man. We can't escape our nationality. So why the hell should he be allowed to? Why the hell should you call him an American president? Ain't none of these presidents that been here in America American. None of them. Not even Barack Obama. None of these presidents who've been over the United States of America are American. Not one single one. All of them have been Europeans from Europe, have German ancestry, Irish ancestry, Russian ancestry. They got all kind of English ancestry. They are not Americans. They are not Americans. White people are not Americans. And they never have been and never will be. I don't care how long they've been in America. They are not Americans. The only real Americans are us. And this is why we catch all the hell here. Because they know we're the real Americans. And they hate the fact that the real Americans are still here. Because they always feel that the real people, that's how the fake people feel. The real people are always going to be seen as a threat. The real people, when the fake people are trying to assume your identity, trust and know that the real people, they always going to view the real people as a threat. Look how they went out of their way to reclassify our people. That's what lets you know we the real Americans. Look how they went out of their way to reclassify our people. Look how they went out of their way to call us we've been reclassified at least 10 or 15 times here in this country. I kid you not. We done went from American Indians to American Negroes. They want you to think that American Negroes is a real group of people. All that is American blacks, because the word Negro mean black. Okay, so they've been reclassified to Negroes, colored, which comes from the term copper colored. The copper colored races were found here. American, a noun. This is the definition of American. I'm going to read this again. Y'all should make sure that y'all have this somewhere put up for your children to see. This 1828 English language dictionary definition of American from Merriam-Webster on the definition of American. American, a noun, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginal or copper-colored races. Copper-colored races. We are the copper-colored races who were found here by Europeans, but now applied to descendants of Europeans born in America, which tells you what? White people are not Americans. Even in their own definition, they're letting you know they're not American. They are a bunch of, they are a bunch of Europeans in America. You see, they are a bunch of Europeans in America cosplaying American. What am I talking about? The copper tone tan, like they used to talk about in the 50s. They were trying to look like our people while calling us black people, by getting us to hate ourselves and calling us black people. They were trying to be those copper colored people, copper tone makeup, copper tone suntan lotion in the 50s, trying to be like the copper colored people that were found here, the copper colored races. Why do you think copper tone tans were big here in the 50s and the 60s? And hell, even to this day, you see these Caucasians. Donald Trump got a spray on copper tone tan. Sometimes Donald Trump look bronze skinned. He got a spray on copper tone tan because they know that the real Americans are the copper colored people, the people who they calling black people. And they know it is not the Native Americans. They know it is not. Because they too cool with the Native Americans. The Europeans are too cool with the Native Americans. Why? Because the Native Americans, who are Siberians, they were helping them catch slaves, man. They were part of the slave patrols too. Okay? They were they had Native Americans part of their slave patrols too. There's a good documentary I put on my page. It was called the real reason America created police. It had nothing to do with crime. That's a good documentary. But my point being is that the whole goal was to try and make the real American indigenous people a permanent second-class race group of people. Give them no rights. They don't have any rights in the system of America. Again, this is why our rights are always violated. This is why the police treat you the way they treat you, because they're taught that black people are considered they're not really considered citizens. So whatever you do to black people, it's going to be basically, ignored. You notice you can't really get no help at these police stations. You don't got nobody to go to. Black people will just get, shitted on here in America, and they don't really have no real recourse. None, because you got a bunch of racist Europeans running the system. Racist Europeans set up this system off of the backs of the indigenous copper-colored races, so-called black people, who they made us into black people, because I told you the term black is a term of erasure, and it's even worse when you're trying to explain that to the people who have been erased, who had their identity taken, and you know what they doing? They trying to fight against you. When you try to explain this to black people that, look, you are those copper-colored people that they were talking about, these simple-ass Negroes want to sit up and talk, no, man, my skin is black, brother. What you talking? We ain't got no copper skin. And here it is, you got, because they're programmed. Bro, we from Africa, man. Yeah, because you were told you were from Africa. You're programmed. Just like you were told to worship a white Jesus and a white God, you were programmed. And you're trying to argue with the ignorance of these people. You're trying to go back and forth because you're arguing with a person with a slave mentality. So no matter what you say, they're going to say that you're lying. And I'm like, what reason do we got to lie about being from Africa? What reason do we got to lie about that? Because again, these people have very low self-esteem. They believe in anything white people say. You got a lot of black people like this, a lot of so-called educated Negroes who are the worst, because when they get educated by these Caucasians about us coming from West Africa, black Americans are West African, and they were brought over here for slavery and things like that, y'all actually believe this shit. You don't question these Caucasians. You don't question the numbers. You don't question anything they say. You just blindly believe what they tell you about our people in some African slave trade, which is a lie. There was no African slave trade. They enslaved indigenous black people of America. That's what they did. They enslaved indigenous black people and tried to take their place as Americans. That's what these Europeans did. That's what these racists did. And that's what they stand on today. That's why they will never give our people reparations, because they purposely stripped our people financially so that we would not have an economic flow, so that we would have to depend on them. You know how you create a second class group of people, like what the white man did, the Europeans did. They took all the land from the indigenous people so that we wouldn't have any economic, we wouldn't have any economic foundation, because back in the day, land was considered your economic or financial foundation. If you had land to grow on, if you had land to, work and things like that, you could feed yourself, you could sell your food. So yet, your land was everything. And our people had all the land. That's why the government took away over a million acres, more than a million acres of land from our people, throughout this time in America. Now, this wasn't Africans getting land. This was already indigenous people who had land here in America already. And the USDA worked to take land away from our people. I tell you, all of these governmental systems work hand in hand against our people, against the indigenous Americans. These are all European constructs. Even the United States flag, which is not American, it's a ripoff of the British flag. That is an English flag, man. The United States flag is not an American flag. It is a United Colonies or United States flag. The United States flag is not an American flag, because the people who put the United States flag together are not Americans. They're English. George Washington, all those people are English. They're not Americans. You don't get to change your identity because you move to a whole nother place. They tell us we can't. They'll tell us we African. They stay sticking. We don't get to say we American, even though we are. They'll keep calling us African American, because they don't want any competition when it comes to who's American and who's not. They want you to believe that they're the only real Americans here. That's what they're pushing for. White people are the only real Americans here. Everybody else came from someplace else. Horse shit. All that Anglo-American nonsense. There's no Anglo-Americans. There are Americans and there are Europeans. We are the only real Americans here. They're Europeans. Just like that. We are those copper-colored races who were describing. The reason why they refer to us as copper-colored races is because we come in many different shades of copper. My brother's a light beige complexion. We got the same mother and father. My sister's we come in many different shades of copper, from beige complexion to reddish bronze to dark bronze. We come in all different shades of copper, and that's what they were saying. They didn't call us brown people because our skin is not brown, it's bronze, because we have a sheen to our skin like bronze and like copper, like all fine metals. We have a sheen to our skin. Unlike the brown people, like your Mexicans and your Hindus and all them other people, those are brown people. They're brown people because they don't have no sheen to their skin. Brown is just a flat color. Bronze has a sheen to it. If you notice, we have a sheen to our skin. So that's why they were making reference to us as the copper-colored races, because the sheen to our skin, we shine bright like the copper on pennies and things like that. So they wasn't talking about the so-called Native Americans. And let's just say, for argument's sake, they were talking about them. How come they don't look like that now? You ain't gonna find no Native Americans that look like don't got no copper-colored skin. You're not. They're gonna have a more of a yellowish tint to them, like the Asiatics they part of, or they're gonna have a white, because most of these people are Asian / Hindu / Caucasian. That's what the Native Americans are. They're not American. Okay. And the white man wants to promote them as American. Reason being, and why they promote them as American, is because it's easy to erase them. It's easy to discard the Native Americans because they live on populations. They not, it's not, excuse me, they live on, not popular. They live on reservations. I'm sorry. They live on reservations, right? They live on reservations and they're basically discarded as a people. You don't really see them in public nowhere. They usually stay on their reservations, which are shitholes. They reservations are shitholes, right? There's a lot of alcoholism, a lot of drug use on their reservations, a lot of trailers on their reservation, a lot of white people living on their reservation, white trash who call themselves Native Americans live on their reservations. Yes, they do. And they all racist against us, the so-called real indigenous Americans. Again, the Native Americans of today are not the American Indians of yesterday. So when people like Mike TV come up here talking this shit about we need to check in with the government, that sounds like some old gang shit. We need to check in. We need to check in with the government to say that we are indigenous to Americans. What? We got to check in. We got to get permission. We got to join a Native American tribe. Really? Full of a bunch of damn Siberians running it and white boys. That's our tribe. That's your tribal leader, Mike TV. That's who the head of them is a so-called black person, a black indigenous person. Because you keep talking about your relative, your indigenous relative. You know, you keep talking about your indigenous relative. I'm like, okay, he's got some, he's mixed with shit, and you keep saying he's indigenous. Okay, that's fine. But why? But how is it that somebody who's not looking like your uncle, or how is it that they're not your tribal leader, but some mongoloid who was given permission, who was given a damn Native American card from the white man? That you know what that sounds like? Where your slave papers at? Where your freedom papers at? You got papers to say that you free? Where your freedom papers at? That's what that shit sound like. You gotta sit up here and ask these crackers for permission. These same people that stripped you, the people who are not even American, you gotta sit up here and ask them, can they grant you recognition for being indigenous American? Oh, nigga, are you insane? Are you insane? I can't really watch Mike TV no more because you saying some crazy shit. The information he give is good, but when you start talking out your head about we need to check in with the government to get recognition, no, in the hell we don't. No, in the hell we don't. You said? Exactly. How you turn from copper color to pink. Or yellowish. They got a yellowish tint to them, and they look Asian, man. These people on the reservation, they are a mixed bag of damn nuts. They got everything from Asian in them to damn Caucasian in them to damn Hindu in them. But they want to sit up here and call you African. They want to sit up and say they indigenous to America. They are not indigenous to America. And the only reason y'all believe that is because these Caucasians said that. See, because if they could have, they would have said they were indigenous to America, but everybody know that they came from elsewhere. So that history is well known. They're trying to erase that, though. You do know that. They're trying to erase that. They're trying to erase the truth that they're from Europe. They're trying to get rid of that history. They're basically trying to say that they are rooted into America through the Native Americans. A lot of them say they got Native American ancestry. Well, so what? The Native Americans are not indigenous to America either. So you could claim all the Native American ancestry you want, you Caucasians, because the Native Americans are not indigenous to America. They just as foreign as you are. You didn't know that? You didn't know that the so-called Native Americans are just as foreign as you are? None of y'all are indigenous to America. The only full-blooded Americans by nationality here in America is black Americans. That's it. That is all. And don't believe that bullshit that Tariq Nasheed talking about we had some ethnogenesis and we came over here as Africans. But then why you always pointing out the differences between us and Africans if you believe that? How come you always pointing out genetic differences, hairlines and foreheads and all this other stuff if you believe that? If you saying we are genetically different from Africans, then how we come from them? Make that make sense. How we come from them if you always pointing out the differences between us and them? How you sit up here calling Africans tethers when we come from Africa, according to you? Make that make sense to me. You saying that Tariq Nasheed say we are the product of an ethnogenesis of Africans who came here through a slave trade and transatlantic slave trade and mixed in with the indigenous black people here. So you saying we African Americans. And the reality is that we are not, because he went in his own bloodline, his heritage. He looked back at his family lineage and he said he don't find no African slave ships in his family. So wait a minute. What was your point of saying that if you just said that all Black Americans are African Americans or a part of some ethnogenesis? But you saying you don't find no African slave ships in your thing, in your bloodline. You trace back your lineage. You said your people was amongst the Lumbee people in North Carolina. So why'd you say that then? If you believe that we all African. See, he all over the place, man. You pointing out foreheads and hairlines, but then you say we come from these people. We had an ethnogenesis. There was no ethnogenesis. The same culture that was in America when these Europeans came here was the same culture that was here. But while they was here, same culture that was creating the music here and all that. Same people, the same American indigenous people that came from South America, playing their ball games, playing music, dancing, building stuff. The same people. Same people. Okay, the same people. So our people better wake up to that, man. You got a lot of people up here trying to hide our heritage, man, while putting these Caucasians up as American. They are not American. They are not. They are as foreign as the Siberians. Again, anybody that's up here calling us Black people today or African Americans today, discard them, man. Don't listen to them. They can't be trusted, especially with all this information that's out. Or anybody up here telling us that we can't be real indigenous Americans of America unless we get some damn get our lineage checked or get our get our lineage or our we got to get federally recognized and be part of some goddamn tribal citizenship. We don't need no goddamn tribal citizenship. Knock it off. We don't need no damn tribal citizenship. Why? You want to be tribal citizens with people who will sit up here call you wabos, because you do know the very people that sit up here calling you wabos and saying you wannabes and we not real American indigenous people and we not from here and that we phony, yet our culture dominates American culture. Make that make sense to me. How we not American and our culture dominates American culture. These Mongoloid, these Siberian Native Americans sitting up here doing crip walk dances, doing our dances, listening to our fucking music, but we not indigenous to America. The Europeans ain't contribute no music to America. Europeans contributed no music to America. Siberian Native Americans contributed no culture to America. None. They contributed no culture to America. Everything from the music to the dances to the food, everything that's American came from our people. From so-called Black Americans, the copper-colored races were found here that have no African in them. None. And you niggas that believe that shit, the reason why you believe that's because y'all a bunch of Sambos and Uncle Toms and you believe anything white people say. I'm going to just say it like that. Y'all just a bunch of Sambo buck dancers who believe whatever white people say. And if that means Tariq Nasheed too, oh well. Because that shit you about that we all from Africa, that's some nonsense the white man made up. That's a theory. There ain't no all life starting Africa, and we not no damn Africans. Get out of here with that. Tired of people bullshitting and lying to our people, man. Always lying to our people, man. We don't need nobody lying to our people no more. We don't need nobody telling us a bunch of bullshit. We got black skin. This the same person that told you we got black skin. You gonna try to convince us that we got black skin. That's some nonsense from the white man. Please understand understand white man interference when black people are being used as Trojan horses to push this confusion. When you hear people sitting up here talking about we got black skin, you hear people talking we are a product of an African slave trade. When you hear people talking about ain't nothing wrong with being called black people or African Americans or FBA, when you hear people talk that shit, turn off, man. Turn off. Don't listen to them. Those are people who are under the influence of these Europeans, man. Because they the ones that call us black people. We didn't call ourselves black people. Tariq Nasheed leave out the part about our people not wanting to be called black people. The elders didn't want to be called black. They called themselves copper tone people, sepia people, bronze people, as in Bronzeville in Illinois and California where he lived. So we acknowledge that we were bronze skinned people, bronze copper colored people. You know, like what we really are, who we really are. And they tried to turn it around on some psychological shit like Umar Johnson tried to do, another Boule Sambo coon who want to get up here and tell us about his 6 degrees from the white man, right? Who told you that we came from Africa on slave ships and we got black skin and all that. Even Umar Johnson don't believe that shit. He don't, but he'll tell you that because somebody's paying him. Somebody's paying him. You got to always think that these niggas are on somebody's payroll when they come out here telling us this cock and bull nonsense. And y'all believe it because, see, they know how to systematically lie to our people. They get that from they get that from their daddy, the white man. They know how to systematically lie because what they'll tell you is, like Umar, he'll tell you he got 6 degrees. So while him telling you got 6 degrees, what that means is, I'm qualified to lie to you niggas. I'm qualified by the white man to lie to you niggas about us being from Africa and we African and we came over on some African slave shit, my African people. But why your name Umar Johnson then? Why you got an Arabic name and a white man name if you believe you African so much? Why you ain't in Africa, Umar? Why you ain't got a second home or something in Africa? That sounds like some Marcus Garvey shit to me. Like Marcus Garvey was a big sellout in the Sambo too. Marcus Garvey. Big con artist, scam artist, Marcus Garvey, who Umar Johnson like to sit up here, Mr. Pan-Africanist, your first Pan-Africanist, Marcus Garvey, who never went to Africa, never changed his name to an African name, never chose no place for his people to settle. He never took his black ass to Africa. You see, he was real clicked in with the Ku Klux Klan and all these so-called white supremacists about getting our people to go out and leave America and go to Africa. Lying to our people that we African. You see? Nah, man. And Umar Johnson, he wanted to name a school after him. So that tell you right there with Umar on. He wanted to name a school after scamming ass Marcus Garvey. Or sellout Sambo or Frederick Douglass. These are the people he wanted to name his school after. 2 Sambo sellout boulets like him. Who telling our people they got black skin and they from Africa. I told you a lot of these pro-blacks, these Pan-Africans, y'all gonna find out they're a bunch of sellouts and Sambos, all these dashiki wearing niggas talking about we from Africa and red, black, and green. Man, they're a bunch of sellouts, man. They're a bunch of sellouts. So that's all on that. Listen, attention. The first American Street and Music Festival is coming next month. May 16th and May 17th. We about a month away. We are officially a month away. Like officially a month away. May 16th and May 17th in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, the first American Street Music Festival. You see, this is why we have to have festivals like this. This is exactly why I bang the drum for these festivals, because we need to celebrate who we are as first Americans of America. We refer to ourselves as first Americans of America. We don't call ourselves no African, no African Americans, no black. We're not black people. We're not African American. We are those copper-colored races who were found here by the Europeans, and thus making us first Americans. I don't even rock with the term American Indian or Native American. I don't do that because what happens is our people get caught up in the whole tribalism thing. You see, when we start with the American Indian thing, we get caught up in the tribalism thing because people sit up here talking America was India superior and we was Indians. I'm not having that argument. Reason being is because that term of India came from the white man, just like him calling us Indians came from him. So I tell all you so-called American Indians who want to still claim American Indian, we just say first American, because we do know that the word American came from our people, from indigenous Americans here. We do know it came from here, because how you know that, and I forget the tribe here in America. What's the tribe in America where the word America come from? The American come from our people. It don't come from Amerigo Vespucci, which they lied and told our people. See, it's a whole lot of lies we got to cut through from these Caucasians. They like to tell a lot of lies. They lie all the time about history and everything. That's why you got to go back to the Europeans and hear the truth. The Europeans, they didn't have no dog in the fight to lie about. That's why the Portuguese, the Spanish, and all those people were telling our people that, you know, they were letting the world know that these are the Negroes. They tell us, meaning the Negroes, the blacks of the land. That's what they call us, the blacks of America. And the Negroes de Guinea, the ones of the blacks of Africa. So they were basically saying these are two separate people. See, this is what we keep trying to tell you. They keep trying to mesh us as one people with the Africans. We're not. You see, because they don't want to admit that there was an indigenous so-called black population already all over America when they came here. They want you to believe it was just a bunch of Mongoloid Native Americans and that was it. And they was just all over the... No, that's bullshit. There was indigenous so-called black people, tribes all over this place. America looked like all America looked like Harlem. All America looked like Harlem and Watts. This was a black country. This was an indigenous... That's why they said that America is known as the copper-colored races. They were found here. What they were saying was niggas all over the place. tribes all over. There's villages everywhere, and they plotted. And they plotted when the Europeans came. They plotted because they saw our people growing on the land, doing work on the land, doing all the things, cultivating the land, and they wanted our people to do that because they couldn't do it on their own. That's why slavery became necessary. That's why they had to force our people to into slavery. They want to lie and say they brought Africans over. They did not. That's a lie. That doesn't even make no sense. But anyway, so we doing the first American Street Music Festival, FASM Fest. Look on the screen, the first American Street Music Festival that's taking place May 16th and May 17th, 2026 at Rodney Cook Senior Park on 1616 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, which is right down the street from the Morehouse College and down the street from what's the other college? Spelman, the girls' college, which the Rockefellers put up money for because Laura Spelman, I'm just gonna say Laura Spelman looked like a mulatto. She looked like a mulatto female, but that's a whole nother thing. I'll talk about that another time. But so we doing this to acknowledge who the first Americans are. That's why we doing this, because we doing this in real truth. You notice a lot of these pro-black Pan-Africanists, not the pro-Pan-Af, not them Sambos, but notice a lot of these so-called pro-indigenous people, because you know it's indigenous people coming up out of here now. All these content creators are indigenous. They ain't out here shouting this out. They should be out here shouting out the first American Street Music Festival. See, because what we did was, as the Republic of America Worldwide, which is our community of first Americans, we have our own community, ROA Worldwide. Go to our site, roaworldwide.com. We got our own site. ROA Worldwide stands for Republic of America Worldwide, for First Americans of America, copper-colored people. We have our own American community that has nothing to do with Africa, has nothing to do with black anything. We have our own indigenous American community, First American community. ROAworldwide.com. Go there and become a registered First American of the Republic of America so we can have our own community, so we can do for ourselves. And this is one of the things we doing for the community, the First American Street Music Festival. FASMFest.com. Go to FASMFest.com and make a donation. We are got a month away. We need about $12,000 to make this happen. We already did 12,000. We raised the first 12,000. So we still working on the second 12,000. So we pushing this. Can y'all go to FASMFest? How many people we got in here listening? If we got at least like 45 people in here, everybody can go there and make a donation. Make a donation to the First American Street Music Festival. Go to FASMFest.com and make a donation, man. Every little bit counts, man, because we want the community to do this. We want us as a community to do this. We're going to have live entertainment out there. We're going to have a DJ out there. We're going to have trail rides out there for the children. We're going to have a fashion show. I'm going to be introducing my line, Lord Manhattan. We're also going to have Unlimited Epics out there, my epic book company. We're going to have food out there. We're going to have a good time, man. We're going to have our people out there serving up food, music, networking, having a good time. For these next 2 days, we're going to have a lot of live entertainment. It's going to be good, man. So we're asking our people to come out, celebrate with us. Come out, donate. Let's make this happen. If y'all acknowledge that we are first Americans of America and y'all feeling this message, then come support, man. Don't sit on the sidelines, because you see what we working against, right? You see what we working against. We working against people who want to push this narrative that we from Africa and all this BS. And this is why we have to do festivals like this. First American Street Music Festival, May 16th and 17th, 2026, from 12 noon to 9 p.m. We're going to have a good damn time in 2 days. We're going to be filming it. It's going to be live streamed every day. So we want to make this a very big event, networking, business, music, food, everything. We want everything to be big out here, man. So let's make it happen, man. Can y'all go to FASMFest.com and give a donation? Drop some money in there. Every little bit helps, man. We need your help. All right. So go to that. Also, give this a thumbs up if you like this. Give this a thumbs up. I'm going to be back on Friday because I'm about to wrap this up. I got to do my cast tonight. Go give this a thumbs up and subscribe and share this. And also go to my other channel, my other channel, the Buck Manhattan channel. Go to the Buck Manhattan channel and subscribe to the Buck Manhattan channel. I got some new content up there. I'm gonna be back here on Friday live I'm gonna be back here Friday live on camera for Supreme American. So look out for that. Go to the American Indigenous channel and subscribe, Sister Enra Vanzetta. And also check out the Draconian Rules line, which our good brother, Nemaru Bentangeline. Go to Unlimited Epics and buy a book. Go to unlimitedepics.com. Go to unlimitedepics.com and also go to my Mentellect Patreon. Go to my Mentellect Patreon. And I'm still polling for a webinar I want to do. It's a pay-per-view webinar. I want to do this on relationships, right? I want to do this on relationships. These are the 3 things I got, but I want to do it on. One of them, like I said, I want to do this on the 24th, but I'm trying to still get a general consensus because I don't want to do something that people don't want to hear it. I want to do something called Instructions on Better Relationships Between Men and Women. And this is going to be good. It's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be a webinar. It's $15 to tune in and listen. It's going to be interactive. You can ask questions. I'm going to be doing this on the 24th. Me as a husband of 2 wives. Yes, I got 2 wives, 5 children, about soon to be 6. And another one coming. So I think I'm very poised to talk about real relationships going forward because relationships have to be altered. So instructions on better relationships between men and women. If y'all like that, give me a thumbs up. Tell me if y'all like that. Or the soul awakening or the soul awakening. That's another one I'm going to do. I'm going to be doing these periodically, but the first one I'm thinking about is instructions on better relationships between men and women. The second choice is the solar awakening. The third choice is the opening of the 4th eye. Y'all heard about the 3rd eye. Now we're going to talk about the 4th eye because that's very real. So let me know in the comment section. Let me know what y'all want to hear, what y'all would pay to see or pay to hear me speak. I'm going to be on camera. I'm going to be answering questions. See, because I can't really get into how I want to get into it on TikTok and on YouTube because we have all these restrictions. I want to be able to answer questions and talk, and it'd be our space, and I could be real and raw and uncut there. So let me know what y'all want to hear. It's going to be worth it. Like I said, it's going to be, I want to do it on the 24th, but I'm still, gathering people. So let me know what y'all think. And that's it. Thank you all for listening. I'm going to be back on, Friday. For those who can't make it, make what the first, for those who can't make it, then everybody should go and give to if those of you can't make it out to Phasm Fest, the First American Street Music Festival, even though y'all should make your way out here as a group. Y'all should come out here and celebrate with us because I'm going to be out there running my mouth and answering questions. I'm going to be out there blowing it up on the mic like I was last year, answering questions. We're going to be holding class out there. It's going to be good. We're going to have drum groups out there and whatnot. So those of you, if you can't make it out there, which you should be making the point to, make a donation, leave some money there. Let's make this happen. And let me know what y'all think about the webinar because we're going to do that on the 24th. I want to get a good consensus. Let's support our own thing. Let's make ourselves better as a people. We can't complain to nobody else if we're not going to correct ourselves. But that's it. So I'm going to close this out in Lord Arm and I trust, and Lord Arm and I share this message and end this message with you all. I'll be back on Friday. I got to get ready for my other show, which I'm going to start at 11 o'clock. So what am I closing out with? Good night.
Sunny side up, awake to pride and I stretch my prayers right up beside the sky, and that's the God Preem without the Sue. But don't get it twisted up, he's still supreme to you. Bow Heights in the big city, where we launch from, living in a skin placed under the gun, but on a straight path, never a detour, surviving in life's paint. That's what we for, taking a knee for, synergy reset. Check out the energy we get, the 3-man plan help you come out change forever better. Mute the noise like a silencer, making a pistol hiss. See the blessings giving you a way to take a crisis in midlife, turn it to a chrysalis. As we got older, we talk healthier, loud attitude, crave to be stealthier. We cooked up an oath, putting an emphasis on growth, with a friendship that won't budge. Every now and then out of place we get nudged, but we day one fitted, so we stay a day with it. Most won't get it, trying to live out their dreams without someone adding a nightmare, and owning the right pair to walk away from it. It's not fairly easy, so some do plummet. Gotta learn to evolve outside the lines. That's how I do it with mines. Tiger eyes under the eyelids at every single view is what I'm teaching my kids to skip around the queue. No longer waiting for plates, we used to starve, so we allowed to bite off more than we could chew. Hey yo, Preem, what you gonna do?
That verse was the calm, now here's the storm. That verse was the calm, now here's the storm. That verse was the calm, now here's the storm.
Well, that's true.
God's work to live amongst hurt, but stay planted in faith in straight form. It's a norm to have storms take position in skies, where uneasy waters indigenous to lies. But behold, there's gold tucked beneath the surface, raised to be on point, but now we on purpose, convert into a seed when rainy days come to leave lessons to learn from. No need to grieve for the death of the old you, the ushers in change. Give birth to better versions for you to claim. The best weight loss is losing the opinion of others with a cross to nail to you for sinning. They throw stones so that your towel gets thrown in, but you let them see you'll forever be sewn in to debate if love has more stamina than hate, and showing them what we should choose to forsake. But knowledge isn't here to work on behalf of ego. Stormy weather moves through emotions of the people, and if they don't find a trace of what they feel in your face, they treat you like your actions aren't legal. But a cliff will never walk towards you for the fall, so plant firmly in where your knee goes to crawl, cause how you revel brings the devil to the past. So speak divine of God theory with no need to be high.
I speak divine of God theories. I speak divine of God theories, no need.